Episode 127 of the 77 Club. Harry, start with this. Is that wine?
No, it's Coke.
What is
it's
that?
Coke. It's Coke.
Yeah, is there JD in that?
There is. Right, go on. So carry on.
Let's start with the socials.
Yeah, the Wall 77 Club on Facebook and Instagram. You can probably hear my kids screaming in the background as well. Sorry. It's all going to hell. It's all going. Yeah, Spotify, iTunes. Please rate and subscribe. And obviously YouTube, still kicking along on that, which is enjoyable. So please subscribe to that too.
Dan Bayliss is here, and if you are watching on YouTube, you will see the most outrageous moustache since mine not very long ago. Dan, just explain it to begin with, because it is for a good cause, of course.
Yes, good evening, Wolves fans. I had some sad news. An old boy at the cricket club died of cancer a week or so ago. And as it was coming up to November, we thought a few of the lads, we would do Movember. So I might actually post out the sponsorship link on the socials if anyone would be so kind. It's obviously going all to the Movember cause for men's health charities, mental health awareness, suicide prevention. There's some great causes in there. But I have got an awful little rant on my top lip.
I wasn't laughing at the situation. I was genuinely, I just looked up and then caught the moustache again.
I think I look like the, what's the bloke called from the Addams Family?
Oh, yeah, Adam. No,
from Adam's Family.
Gomez. It's Gomez.
You know what you remind me of, Bayliss? You know, like the fighter pilots when they wore the goggles and the hats and they had like a moustache.
He does look like a war veteran.
Yeah, that's it.
Right, okay, let's start with Crystal Palace at home. A debut, Harry, for Rayan Ait-Nouri, and he marks it with a goal in the 18th minute, and he was brilliant, you've got to say.
Oh, mate, brilliant. And it was funny because I was watching the game in the pub with Seb, who used to be on this podcast, and I literally looked up at the team sheet when it come out. I said, "Oh, they must listen to the podcast." And he looked at me and went, "Harry, you were predicting like Neto attacking mid with Dendoncker and Stacey midfield. You can shut up." So that found it funny. But yeah,
you say, "Well, at least you listen to it."
yeah. But mate, he was the difference. He literally was the difference. Yeah. I don't think he was even meant to start here. I think Marcel was meant to, but then he got injured. Then Ait-Nouri come in, and what a breath of fresh air. And Bayliss mentioned last week about we need two good wing backs in our system, and both our wing backs are on form, and Ait-Nouri was a difference. I know Sace is good and he tried to fill in the best he could, but he's not a natural left wing back and he hasn't got the quality of young Ait-Nouri. And what a finish, and I'm so happy for him.
We cross over to our wing back correspondent, Daniel Bayliss. Dan, have we got any wing backs yet?
We did against Palace, vastly improved. I do have to say that half the reason for the success was how narrow Palace were.
God, I thought you were going to say that.
Paris let us play in their half down the wing, which just seems mental to do against the Wolves team, but we'll take it all day long. I think both Ait-Nouri and Semedo had very good games because they had time on the ball to do what they wanted. They could pass freely, they could get crosses into the box. We got around the back. We even got around the back a few times, which is exactly what Wolves need to do, and that's where the goals came from. Sorry, magic when you start playing.
Passed out very briefly when you said Semedo had a good game. Can you say it again? I don't know if I heard it right.
Of course he had a good game. You don't go and beat
Say it again. I heard it right.
Of course he had a good game. You don't go and beat a team convincingly 2-0, both goals coming down the wings, with your wingers not having good games. Of course he did. But we've now got to go and replicate that against tougher teams, which we were going to see Sunday. So that's the acid test, isn't it?
I can't get over how much you actually do look like a World War II pilot. Harry, that starting 11, let's run through it very quickly. Patricio, Bolly, Cody, Kilman, Semedo, Dendoncker, Neves, Ait-Nouri, Neto, Podence, and Jimenez. I thought Kilman had a brilliant game again. You know, we keep saying it. He's good with the ball at his feet, but he's really grown into the role as well. And I think he is a mainstay in that side now.
Yeah, definitely. We say it week on week, don't we, lately? He's definitely cemented his place. I just want to be really positive this episode as well, because we've had a few, even though we've started well in terms of results, we've had a few really down the dumps episodes, haven't we? And it was generally the first time this year I've been on the edge of my seat, really enjoying watching Wolves. Like in the pub I was in, it was a great atmosphere and just a joy to watch, wasn't it? It just shows what we can do when we could play the way we want to play. You know what I mean? Everyone was brilliant. Raul didn't get a goal, but everyone round him was chipping in. And there's so many contenders for the man of the match. Dendoncker, when he smacked one off the bar as well. Just a really good performance, and it's a joy to watch. And let's hope it can continue, because maybe Crystal Palace had an off day. I know Bayliss thinks they did, but they're on level points for us, weren't they, before the game? So it's a bit harsh to say that. And I'm really happy with the way we played, and long may it continue.
I do think Palace are a lot like us. I think we're a better team and a more skillful and quality football team, but they're very similar to us in the way they play the football. When they have an off day, they are very bad. They nearly hit us on the break. I thought both penalty shouts were nonsense anyway. Zaha goes down too easily. But they had a proper off. No, neither. Well, the one was offside anyway.
The Ait-Nouri one, I thought it was a penalty, but obviously they didn't even check it, did they? Or was it that weren't the offside one? Remember the Ait-Nouri one when he took Zaha down?
Yeah, second half. I don't think that was a penalty.
I was going to say, how brilliant is VAR? I mean, we might have hammered it last season at the beginning of this season. How great is it to just have those decisions go your way? It just makes the game so much easier when you don't have to worry about penalties or anything like that.
I think Jack said, Jack, who I don't know if he's still alive, lads. He'll be back on soon, but
we'll never know.
We were all buzzing, weren't we, saying how good the performance was, all chatting in the WhatsApp, and he pointed out, he was like, lads, but we did ride our luck at times. If it weren't for VAR, they could have got one back, blah blah. But for me, if we're going to play like that, I don't care if we ride our luck a bit, because it's better to watch, and we probably will win games playing that way anyway.
If you sit back, you're going to give away a couple of chances a game anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
Harry, sorry. Harry, I've been guilty for sort of saying that I wasn't enjoying the football and it wasn't sure whether it was right that it was back because the fans aren't in the ground. It's just not the same. I think this week has been a real eye-opener because it almost got taken away from us. And just as we started playing well, how is this performance? I know it's only early on in the season, but how does it compare to the others that we've seen so far?
Oh, it's the best performance by a mile, isn't it, really? I mean, we've had some good performance in terms of defending and seeing out results, apart from obviously the Newcastle one, but going forward, it's the best. It's the best. Apart from like the first 8 minutes against Sheffield United, it's the best performance. And obviously when we go in 2-0 up at half-time, we're going to try and see it out. That's just the way Nuno is. But I'd rather see us fly it on first half and get a few goals like we did against Palace than maybe nick one late on in the second and then sit back for the last 20 or something. So yeah,
it was so similar, Harry. It was so similar to the first 8 minutes against Sheffield United.
Yeah.
Play quickly, get the ball down the wing, transfer well. Cody distributes from the back fantastically. Cheers. Wolves football.
And how much of a difference is Cody making, Dan? He's putting in performance after performance.
If Harry Maguire's worth, what was he, 70 million?
80 million.
80, wow. Connor Cody must be worth 138 billion trillion. But I'll get Donald Trump to do the recount on it.
Excellent. We take that starting 11, Harry. We've talked about how well it's performing at the moment, and obviously the debut for Ait-Nouri as well. He's not going to be budged from that position anytime soon, I wouldn't have thought, and certainly not for the next game against Leicester. How well, though, do you think the bench performed in that game?
Well, obviously, Fabio Silva come on very late. Remind me who else come on? I forget right now.
Matinho came on for Neto and Traore for Podence, and that was pretty much the same time, 76 minutes.
Yeah, Matinho obviously done much to do. Traore, I worry about him because he hasn't done anything for a while, has he? And he's coming on, and Neto and Podence are playing really well. And when he does come on, he's not exactly setting the world alight, is he? So they were okay. I think Fabio Silva might be a bit annoyed he didn't get a bit more time than literally coming on for stoppage time. But yeah, they did okay, I suppose, but the game was kind of already done when the substitutions were made.
Yeah, thing is with Silva is that Raul does so much work going backwards that you don't really realise.
Yeah.
That if he'd have brought him on any earlier, it might have swung it a little bit more in Palace's favour, and telling a kid that's just out and out striker to go and sit back and sit in might have been difficult, but some game time. Totally agree.
We were sort of saying last week, weren't we, that they need a bit of game time together, because I think it'd be good for the 18-year-old to learn his craft with someone like Raul Jimenez. In my opinion, he is world class.
He's going to love it. He's going to love it when Rochdale sticks 7 bells of shit at him in the FA Cup in a couple of weeks. Or is it January the 7th, isn't it, FA Cup?
Yeah.
First one.
Harry, just going back to the bench, and you mentioned Traore there, do you think his place in terms of coming on and changing games? Because I know sometimes we looked in previous week, you look at the bench and think, well, is there someone that can change it? It should be Traore, but at the moment he isn't. Do you think he is worth that gamble to bring on if you're in need of changing a game?
Yeah, it's a weird one because he played really well for Spain in the international break, and he probably is thinking to himself, why not start him? But he's not, because Podence and Neto are playing well. The thing is with Traore, he needs us to be playing like on the counter, doesn't he, for him to be really effective and for him to run at teams. And if he's not on it and he don't get it his own way, sometimes he's just ineffective, isn't he? He just goes missing. So if he wants to be a starter, and there's rumours, I don't know how true, you obviously see the rumour mill on Twitter that he's signing a new deal soon. But will he want to sign a new deal if he don't think he's going to be a starter? Because if I was him, I wouldn't want to. So it'd be interesting to see that. And yeah, when he comes on now, he's really got to take his chance because the people in his positions are just playing really well at the moment.
Bayliss, for you, do you think his impact is enough at the moment? Because I imagine he'll be knocking on Nuno's door almost, asking for a starting berth because he wants to be going at them from the off.
Well, it will be, because he's got that option from the off when we want to go at teams. At the same time, he still created a chance, if not two, against Palace. Wasn't a great attempted finish by him, but I don't think you can knock what he does. And when we're playing, again, the teams that press us further up the pitch, having someone with his raw pace is just, it's got to be there. I think when we start playing, I don't know, I'm trying to think who's going to really push us and try and press us.
We got Liverpool soon, haven't we? Have we?
Yeah, that's a different level again, but I'm thinking like a team that's not as good that presses quite high up the pitch. Sheffield United maybe be one of them. Leeds are another example of it. But I see no issue with him. What he's doing now and the option he brings, you've got to stick with him.
Harry, up to, what is it? Time recording. I think it is 6th in the league.
Yeah.
What was it? I was checking the table. 3 points from top. Don't want to get it wrong. Are you starting to believe a little bit? I mean, I know it's so frustrating that we haven't got a European campaign to worry about, but I mean, you know, the way this season's going, people on Twitter were talking about title challenges. They were the same people that were talking about relegation the week before. So you take it with a pinch of salt. But are you starting to get excited by this side? Because it's taken a little bit of time, and as it has done in previous seasons, sort of get into the groove and sort of get going.
Yeah, I am a little bit, but we know it can all change quickly. We might go back to not playing well again, but we've had a little bit, I say easy. We've had a favourable run of fixtures the last few games. So until we start playing the top teams, then we can see. But yeah, why not? If we continue playing like we did against Crystal Palace from now on, and even if we can grind out results as we did towards the beginning of the season, we thought they were bad performances, but we were still getting the points. Why not? Because this league is all over the place. We don't know what's going on. So if we win 3-0 against Leicester, we go top of the league past Liverpool.
Let's talk about Leicester, because you know they're up next and second in the league. They've had a brilliant performance, thumping win over Leeds midweek. Harry, I just want to start there with Brendan Rodgers, and it's more of a discussion topic really to begin with, rather than talking about the team that we're going to play. Is that a lot of people, including Simon Jordan, actually this week on Talk Sport, and I really like Simon Jordan. I think what he says is brilliant. He's got some really good things to say, but he called him an elite manager, and lots of people were calling him an elite manager too. Just want your thoughts on Brendan Rodgers. Would you class him as an elite manager?
No, just because obviously he did amazing at Celtic, but I could probably manage Celtic and win the league, especially in his era when he was there when Rangers were nothing as many times as he did. He did all right at Swansea. Liverpool, yes, they came close, but yeah, they didn't win the league. So he's done good at Leicester as well. There's no doubt about it. But to say he's elite, I mean, would you put him up there with like Klopp and Pep? I don't think I would.
No,
but I think I'd say just below. But I'm sure he thinks he's elite because he's quite an arrogant bloke, isn't he?
Bayliss, he's got good character.
I don't mind him as a manager. I think he does very well with the team he's got. He had a good team that he inherited at Leicester, in all fairness to him, but he's bought well. So you can't knock him for that. Tielemans is a brilliant buy. So Barnes is a good buy. You know what? I'm struggling to say that he's in the elite because he hasn't yet done it. But that Leicester team's a good team, in my opinion. So he has the chance to. I think they've got more chance of being title contenders than us.
When you say, when you say he hasn't done it, what is that? I mean, I imagine what you class him as elite manager. What would it take to have done it? What's on the list?
You got to win something in Europe, haven't you? You've got to win one of the proper leagues and something in Europe. He got so close with Liverpool, and Gerrard bottled it for him. So.
Everyone talks about the Gerrard slip, don't they? I mean, it was in the 15th minute. They had a bit of time to sort of catch up.
Funny you say that, Bayliss. I listened to Steven Gerrard on a podcast today, and he said Brendan Rodgers during that run up when he did slip, but he said before every game in that really critical run in, like when they beat Man City, etc., lost to Chelsea, Brendan Rodgers would get personal letters from each player's family members to read out on what it means to them to get them motivated before every game. So there's a little behind the scenes things with what Brendan Rodgers did. Obviously, it failed in the end because Gerrard reckons he got a bit too emotionally charged. Obviously, he cried against Man City when they won 3-2, and was it good or bad? Putting that much emotion in him? I don't know.
He's also a weird bloke. Like he's got more.
Rodgers?
Yeah.
Oh.
He's had more work done to him than Caitlyn Jenner. Jesus Christ.
Yeah. I'd be on the same page as you, Dan, really, is that I think you have to win a major league in Europe. And I do not count the SPL as a major league in Europe.
No, it's only Sunday League.
Well, yeah, they could win it without a manager, I think, Celtic. But
yeah,
he's done nothing else. I think, promotion with Swansea, was it through the playoffs, I think? And
he didn't win the League Cup with Swansea, did he? That was someone. Was that Laudrup? Was that Laudrup at Swansea? Or I forget.
Yeah,
now.
against Brentford.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was that. Yeah. It was like 6-0. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah. But he's going to go up against Nuno. I think they're pretty evenly matched. Do you, Harry, in terms of their managerial prowess? Obviously, Nuno's managed at a high level in the Champions League. Brendan Rodgers.
I think that's a great show. And I also think Wolves and Leicester are quite evenly matched as well. We're very similar, aren't we? I mean, one week we can do what they went and beat Man City 5-2, and then they lost 3-0 at home to West Ham. It felt like a bit like us from years gone by, but very similar teams. I know Bailey said he thinks Leicester have got more chance of being title challengers than us. I don't know, man. Like it's so close. I really think we're really, really similar teams, and they finished just above us last year, obviously. But I think we could be in there finishing just above them this year too.
No, I'm just saying. No, on the whole, I'm not looking at it from a who's the better team or anything. I just think on the whole, if you weighed up, are Wolves or Leicester going to be title challengers? I think Leicester have got more of a chance than we have. I think we are reasonably evenly matched on the pitch, and we've seen it over the last couple of years. I mean, should have beaten them twice. Both ended up being draws last year. So
I just say something.
I think you always have a meltdown after Leicester, don't you?
Can I just say something, right? A few weeks ago, Sam, when you were on the podcast when you were poorly, I said to Rouse and Bayliss, I said, where do you think Wolves can finish? Like, and you and Rouse were, 10th to 14th. 3 weeks later, we're title challengers. It's mad how it works, isn't it?
I haven't said we're a title challenger yet. I'm not labelling it. Remember, Villa got a Champions League spot in October.
Yeah.
They've done well to get that, actually, to be fair.
I do not want to be one of those Wolves fans.
Harry, do you think we will be unchanged? I think the answer, obviously, we can guess what the answer is, but I just want you to say it yourself.
Yeah, but you say that, but imagine if he did just drop Ait-Nouri and bring Marcel back in if he's fit, because he was meant to start. It'd be harsh, wouldn't it, if he dropped Ait-Nouri after that? He couldn't. Surely. Nah. But look, because obviously we're away, aren't we, against Leicester? So
yeah.
I know it don't mean as much. We always go on about this with the no fans, but if he wants to be a bit more compact and do his old counter-attacking style away from home, he might trust Marcel a bit more. Very really controversial. If he does it, it's horrendous. But yeah, it's got to be the same team, hasn't it?
Bayliss, what about you?
I think it's got to be the same team. Your big threats in that Leicester side are obviously Vardy and Tielemans. Barnes is a good player. It's got some decent players. So I think to win a game against Leicester, you have to take Vardy out of the game, which means either Bolly or Cody can't let him go for the entire match.
Yeah.
And hopefully Cody can sort of try and get the better of him, but the guy's an awkward bugger. See the near post header that led to their second or third goal the other night?
I haven't seen the game.
Absolutely class. Absolutely class. He cuts across the front of the box, totally outmuscles the centre back, so dives and flicks a header.
He's so good at that. Yeah.
I'd have him at Wolves every day of the week. I love someone that works hard. He works hard. He bullies people. He's clearly an absolute shithouse. He is. He drinks port and WKD before games.
I love his celebrations when fans were there. If he's away from home and he scores in front of the away fans, he just stands there like that, doesn't he?
Anyway,
it's not like this. I Leicester love him. We've got to play him.
No.
I still think I still think we're going to get a result, but they're a decent team, Leicester.
And the front three will stay the same, or is this a game for Traore, Harry?
Nah, it's got to stay the same, hasn't it?
Oh, now you want to stay the same. What you got against Ait-Nouri?
Man. I don't know. Well, just experience-wise. You know what I mean? Because look, defensively, I think he potentially can nearly give away a penalty. If Nuno wants to go more defensive, which I hope he don't, I want us to go all out attack and try and go from the offlock against Palace. That's the reason I said that. But Traore, no, I don't think he'll start. There's no reason why with the way Neto and Podence are playing, which obviously is very contradicting to me because Ait-Nouri was amazing as well. So I'm not saying I think Ait-Nouri will be dropped, but I'm saying it might happen. You never know.
I do think Nuno tries to outfox the managers on this selection sometimes, especially this year he has. And I think I wouldn't be surprised if Podence or Neto seems to be his favourite, so probably Podence, even though I think he's played better so far. I wouldn't be surprised if one got dropped and Traore starts just to fuck with Brendan Rodgers, because Rodgers would have set up to play against the Wolves team that he saw against Palace.
That's very true. Score prediction, Harry.
I tell you what, I'm going to go back to being really optimistic again because we're starting to play better. So 4-1 win for Wolves.
Bayliss.
Desmond.
A 2-2, and of course for me it's a 2-1 Wolves. Bayliss, I think you got some